What is going on, my friends, and welcome back to another video here on the channel. Well, Sui's price is absolutely popping off right now, doing extremely well, giving us a bunch of bullishness that I want to talk about with you today. And so with that said, let's not waste any more time at all, and let's get straight into the video. Now, guys, don't forget, if you do want to trade a little Sui yourself on up to 50x leverage without needing the KYC, meaning you're not handing over your personal information, you can check out that BTCC link down below. One of the best deals that I have ever put together since 2021 is here on BTCC, because you're going to get a 10% bonus on all first-time deposits above $500 and under $100,000. Guys, this means if you deposit, say, $6,000, they're going to give you $600 back free, no strings attached, all guaranteed for you to trade. And say you turn that into $4,000, something crazy, all the profit you make, you keep. They're literally allowing you to get free gains on their exchange, which is ridiculous. In addition to that, you're going to get up to $10,000 in credits and an SVIP1 code, which gives you 40% lower trading fees. This, again, is one of the best deals I've ever put together here on the channel, so feel free to go check that out with that BTCC link down below. Now, looking at Sui, okay, let me give you a little bit of context. I like to give a little context, and then we'll talk about what's happening now. So Sui's price has been melting up towards this 1.272 Fibonacci extension zone around the $3.30 level. You guys know that, let's go out to the daily charts, actually. You guys know that when Sui's price was down here, I was basically telling you, hey, if we can see this bad boy break out of this red box, I do expect it to try to push to its first Fibonacci extension zone, basically for its first time ever, up towards $3.30. I said once we hit that Fibonacci extension zone, then I'll let you know what to do. And so what we saw, of course, was that this bad boy had a little bit of sideways movement here, and then bam, saw straight to the upside, pushing up towards that 1.618 Fibonacci extension zone and finding some resistance. Now, as we started to get up towards that Fib extension zone, I said, hey, we need to be a little bit careful right now. Sui's price is doing good. It's trending upwards, but we are getting some chop, and chop can be risky sometimes, right? Chop basically looks like this. You see how we're going like up and down and up and down, and sure, we're moving upwards, but it's like overlapping a lot. That's called chop. And whenever you get chop, it's a 50-50. It's a coin toss. Sometimes chop leads to a melt upwards. Sometimes chop leads to a melt downwards. I've told you all that I do still believe that Sui's price is going to pull back in more of a macro sense at some given point. The question is when. Quite frankly, I don't know. I have no idea, but I am aware that it is destined to pull back and cool down eventually. And so since we were seeing that chop, I said, look, be very careful and watch very closely what happens at this $3.30 level. If we start pushing up through it, hey, we're in a pretty good spot. But if we do start getting rejected here, we might want to see Sui's price come back down to retest, 230, 250, somewhere around here before trying to make the move upwards. But in the grand scheme of things, I still don't believe that it matters because we're getting so much bullish momentum and so many bullish signs, and the bulls are stepping in so nicely that even if it does pull back, I don't think it's going to be that big. I think it would be a rather cool, casual pullback and cool down, allow those indicators to reset, and then this bad boy tries to make a continued move to the upside. And what you can see is that although Sui's price is still basically in chop, it has moved upwards, and because of this move upwards, we have even more bullish news for you today. So, sorry for the long-winded, context, but I'd like you guys to know the perspective that I'm coming from. So let's talk about what's happening now, because my gut feeling still says, okay, be careful, right? And I think that's what everybody's gut feeling says. I think that Sui's price is going to end up smashing through this next Fib extension zone at some point. The next one's at $5.76. I think Sui's going to end up smashing through that at some point. Will it be this week, next week, the next week? I have no idea, but I do think we're going to get there eventually. But even though that is the case, I think that is more of a midterm prediction. I am still feeling a little bit like I need to be cautious right now. Like I'm feeling a little bit nervous, and it's just more of the fact that this thing's moved so damn much. I mean, you look at the reality of this thing and you say, okay, well, since September 2nd all the way to now, it's up 391%, and it's smashing into from the top 20, now the top 15, trying to hit the top 10. And so because of that, obviously, it's like, okay, we need to be a little bit calm here. I think we need to be a little bit cool, calm, and collected, because realistically, after making a move of this nature into Fib extension zones, we might see a cool down or a pullback at any given moment. But the beautiful thing is that with what we've been seeing over the last 24 hours or so since the last video, it's getting better. Now, what do I mean by that? What do I mean is getting better? Well, what I mean is that the higher that we've gone recently, the better it is for Sui's price, not from the perspective that its price is going up and we're making more money, but that the padding to the downside is bigger and it's better and it's stronger. Because now that Sui's price has broken officially above this 1.272 Fibonacci extension zone, this is officially a layer of support now below us. You guys could see massive resistance here, massive resistance here, and now we have broken it. And so I'm under the belief that even now, if Sui's price starts to pull back to the downside, we have a major layer of resistance that will try to be flipped into some support. And it might not hold, but it is going to be tried, and that's important. And you may say, well, Tyler, why is it important? Why is it important that this level is down below us? You have to remember, if Sui's price is very likely to pull back at any given moment, not saying it has to, but it's a high probability after a move of this nature, you want as many layers of support below you as possible. You want a layer of support here and here and here and here and here. Constant, a bunch of them all over the place. Why? So that when it starts to pull back, the bulls will step in there and step in there and step in there and step in there and stop that bearish momentum. They will counter that bearish momentum, forcing the bears to get exhausted much faster, allowing for a higher low to be established and a continuation. Remember, the game here is long-term sustainable growth. And in order to accomplish that, you need padding on these moves to the downside so that when you do pull back, these moves are smaller and you can make a move to the upside. That is exactly why this happened, guys. Look at this, right? What you can see, we got a macro pullback right here. That's what this was. We saw Sui's price fall. What is this? I mean, this is a 30% move to the downside. But do you see how every single one of these resistance points from right here, right, this one and this one and this one, all acted as support and support and support and support, allowing Sui's price to kind of pad this pull to the downside, find that higher low, and continue upwards. This is what sustainable long-term growth looks like, and that's why Sui is so damn good, is because it uses these structure points for long-term sustainable growth. And so the fact that Sui's price is pushed up here, even though it doesn't guarantee it's going to continue higher, it has put us in a spot to where we are looking very good, putting a bunch of new resistance below us to flip into some support, and that's so good. That's so bullish. Now, on top of that, from a 4-hour perspective, what you can see is that it did somewhat invalidate some short-term bearish divergence that we were seeing. Now, to make it put rather simple, your RSI and your price usually move in alignment, meaning if your price is going up, your RSI is going up. But if there's ever a change, for example, in which your price is going up but your RSI is going down, that's called divergence. Some divergence is good, some divergence is bad. Bullish divergence is good, bearish divergence is bad. And what we can see here is that in a situation, right, in which your price is going upwards, it's setting higher highs, but your RSI is going downwards and you're setting higher lows, or sorry, lower highs, well in the world, higher highs and lower highs, that's bearish divergence. And what we saw happening right here was Sui's price was pushing upwards, but we started to lose momentum here on the RSI. We were setting in lower high, lower high, lower high, and that's not usually a good sign, guys. And that's what I was telling you. When you get chopped like this, you gotta be careful because it's just gonna send in one direction and you can't really predict it. But what happened here was that although Sui hasn't been able to recapture this previous high, it did invalidate this micro bearish divergence back here from this move here, which is a good thing. Why? Because it opens up the door to continue to counter some of the bearish momentum that was being put in while we were in the chop phase. And so all of these things are great things, and these are things that people don't think about. These are things that people don't talk about. Everybody's so caught up on moving averages, and everybody's so caught up on the RSI only. And like, you have to look at the grand picture. You have to think long-term sustainable growth, and are we on a good or better track to it? And I think Sui is. And so with that in mind, guys, I will let you know, if you are new here and this does feel a little bit complicated, I will be releasing some crash courses for beginners over in my Patreon. The Patreon is $5 a month if you want access to those little mini crash courses that I'm going to be coming out with, daily technical analysis, daily fundamental analysis, my thoughts and insights and charts and much more. But if you want to just join the community, and maybe if you want to ask me a question about the charts or something like that, you can join for as little as $1 a month down below, and that'll get you access to me and other community members and moderators who can answer those questions for you. So do feel free to go check that out down below. But overall, guys, Sui just did it. It did something absolutely fantastic, and I love it because it allows us to work further in the direction of long-term sustainable growth. And so with that in mind, don't forget, if you do want to trade a little Sui, you can with that link down to BTCC down below. You'll be able to trade it on up to 50x leverage and get a 10% bonus back on first time deposits over $500. And so with that in mind, guys, feel free to check that out. Don't forget, I do have a couple more vids dropping today. Dropped an XRP video earlier. Gonna drop probably another Solana video, Shiba video, Doge video, and Pepe video all today over the next 5 or 6 hours. So stay tuned for those, and I can't wait to see you all in the next one. Peace out, everybody.